Hello, folks. This is the end of a series of posts where I've been trying to talk to you about how I've created a semester-long project-based learning activity based on the hero's journey. I'm calling this my civil rights quest. This is going to be one of several different options that students can choose from. The first step in the process was creating an email, which would have a link to this Google site. Now, I don't have the final project here because I have hidden all of these pages so the students can't just jump around. I want them to follow a particular path. So I'm going to show you the build site of this and not the actual finished, published version of the website. The students received an email. This is their call to adventure, and is from not me, but from a character, Tracy Lynn, who's part of CIPHER, the Central Investigation into Public History and Education Resources. She's part of the division Archivists in Action. And Tracy Lynn, that's in honor of my mom. And she's going to be the mentor. So they received the email, they've accepted the call to adventure. It's specifically for this civil rights adventure that they're going to go on. And then from here, they're going to meet your mentor. So this is Tracy Lynn. They've met her. They're going to register with CIPHER. Right, here's our secure system. And I love that in Google Sites, you can use GIFs up here in the banner. And I kind of put them in this, this form. And in the form, they're going to fill out all their registration information for their superpowers. So they can tell me their superpower name. They get to tell me the power that they have. They're going to be able to pick their first weapon. These are all little pieces of that hero's journey. They still haven't started the road to trials yet. That's going to come next. But these are the different weapons that they can pick from as well. And then they get to click here, and they can go into the mission hub. Now, from the mission hub, they're going to be able to pick one of the various missions. So the only one I have completed right now is this civil rights mission. And this is using mission instead of quest. Once they've gone ahead and clicked on the civil rights quest, they begin that road towards crossing the threshold. Now, crossing the threshold is the idea that they're going to be entering into the realm of the special world. Right now, it's still going to feel kind of schoolish, right? They're on a Google site. They're, they got the weapons and stuff, but we've been playing around with that kind of thing in the classroom. This is just I have a blank here. This is my passcodes and other things. So again, this is hidden from the students, but in case I forget, I have a little website here with passcodes to get into each one of the different forms. This is where they're going to start, though. This is part one. This is going to set them up on that journey towards the threshold, journey towards entering in the realm of the special world. And they're going to meet the villain for the first time. They're going to be told about the villain. Again, introducing them to that special world. So explaining the storyline here. And then they are collectors on a mission. They're going to go and find different primary sources. They're going to use them. They're going to analyze them. And part of the storyline here is that by collecting special sources, that's what charges up their superpower. And they activate the sources after they found them. Again, get to use little GIFs here, which are fun. So they're going to go and collect these two sources. One is about Ida B. Wells. One's about Booker T. Washington. They're going to go to the safe house. They have to answer the questions based on the little video or the reading here. And then once they've done that, they get to collect the artifact. And then once they've collected the artifact, then they have to activate it. So we're still doing kind of school stuff, but we're stepping towards that crossing the threshold. And then this is the artifact that they get to keep. And once they've collected two of the artifacts, then they go back here and we have a third mission that they're going to have to go on. And by putting in the passcode, once they put in the passcode, they're going to be sent here to the third mission. The assumption is going to be like the other three. And, oh, hey, we're here at the safe house. And, oh, wait, did you hear that? Oh, no. And then, oh, there's a shadow on the door. Run, no. And then we have our first battle. So we have our battle mechanics. And I've been trying to figure out a way to use the battle mechanics. I really love the idea of Mr. Seder Quest's form fights. I couldn't figure out how to streamline the process so that an individual student can have that fight based on the form and then going into the spreadsheet. So what we're going to do is more pen and paper in-person fight. So they're going to get this list of questions. They have to answer the questions first. And then once they're done answering the questions, I'm going to come over and we'll start with question number 1. If they get the question right, they get to roll the die. If they get it wrong, they have a series of hearts based on their weapon. If they get the question wrong, they lose a heart. If they are defeated, if they lose all their hearts before they defeat the beast or whatever the enemy is, then they have to recover from the defeat and try again. So it's kind of like a replayability mode. In order to recover from the defeat, they need to, 1, create a memory device for the correct answer. I'm going to give them the correct answer. And then number 2, explain why the answer they chose was incorrect. I'm going to collect that paper. They're going to print another one, and then they will go through the whole process again. And here's our enemy sheet. Again, it's going to be pen and paper. They're going to get a copy of this printout. And then I will tell them the number of hit points. In this case, a shadow enemy starts with 50 hit points. They have 10 questions, and depending on their dice, they could roll between a 6 and some of them will have a 16. So depending on which one they pick. All right. After this, they're going to defeat this enemy. Once they've defeated the enemy, they get their 3rd artifact. And once they get the 3rd artifact in place, they get to move on to the 2nd part of the story. They've crossed the threshold. Now they're battling monsters. They've collected the artifact, they've battled the monsters, and they're going to return to Cypher. That's going to take them to this Red Summer of 1919 activity. Again, it looks like they're going back to the regular hub, but I'm actually sending them to a different location. And then we have more storyline. They've met the mentor. In this case, I am acting as the supernatural aide. I'm running the battle. I'm giving them advice, right? I'm kind of the Gandalf in this situation. Tracy Lynn, she's the mentor. She's the one that's kind of moving the storyline along, helping them understand what's happening. In this case, the second part here, this is the approaching the Innermost cave section. Work's getting a little bit harder. Storyline is still continuing. In this case, they have to look at 3 of these different Red Summer of 1919 riots. They're going to do a little bit of work with each of them. I have 8 options here. They're going to read a secondary source. They're going to then break down what's happening in 3 of them. Once they've broken down each one of those sources, I'm going to give them a separate passcode. They enter the passcodes in here. They hit submit, and that's going to take them to our Vaughn fight. Tracy Lynn has explained that once they've collected them, they have to go to Tulsa to pick up one more source so that they can get started with this. And as they get there, they have an ordeal. So they're approaching the Innermost cave. Now they have the ordeal, and they're going to fight the big boss here, which is apparently locked up. Dr. Vaughn, which is actually, I believe, the Black Mask from the Batman series. But again, we're going to have a battle. This one's going to be a lot more questions. They answer all the questions ahead of time, so even if they defeat the monster, they're still getting the battle. Vaughn hits 125 hit points, but really no special skills at this point. It's an ordeal, and if they defeat him, then they get to move on. If they don't, they have to recover from the defeat and try again. Once they have gone through this, and these questions are all just multiple choice questions. They're content-based questions based on the other content stuff that we'll be doing in class. But Tracy Lynn got knocked out in the explosion, and you've fought Vaughn and you've got away. Now, from here, we're going to this might be the approach to the Innermost cave. This is their big ordeal here. This is the second threshold they're going to meet. So we're going to start here with researching the Tulsa massacre, and the goal with the Tulsa massacre. This is the real ordeal. So they've solved Vaughn, but this is the big thing. They're going to create an evidence board based on the Tulsa massacre interviews and then some of the newspaper clippings. And then this ordeal is going to be completed by taking that corkboard and creating a public interpretation, something that can expand beyond the classroom. And then once they've done that, then we're going to start the Ascension. So they've reached the lowest point, they've done the most difficult task, and now they're going to move into this third part here, which is, the mentor is captured. Dr. Vaughn is mad that he lost. So he wants something. Now we meet Hannah, and Hannah's part of the research team. And she's going to help to strengthen our hero so that they're ready to be prepared for the final ordeal. They're going to take that 20th century research, and the students will be able to research to improve their skills. They're going to look at various 20th century civil rights movement events. A whole list here. I have not yet completed the items, but the items will be specific items based on specific activities if they want to earn the items. And then they have their second encounter with Dr. Vaughn. This is the final battle, I believe it's referred to as the resurrection, where they come closest to death, they come closest to defeat, but ultimately have a victory. And again, it's just another battle here. It's going to be based on the content. And then finally, we have the return. Now, the return part is where the students are supposed to, the hero returns with an elixir, and the elixir is designed to heal the broken world. And in this case, the broken world, we're talking about the real world. So this is the civil rights quest. So my expectations are going to take the knowledge that they've learned from these battles, from the journey through the Red Summer of 1919, the Tulsa Massacre, all the way up through the 1940s, 50s, and 60s civil rights journey. And they're going to go on what I'm calling an epic quest. The epic quest is healing the broken world here. They're going to take their knowledge, they're going to take it to the ordinary world, which is their real world, and they're going to try to apply it and heal in some way. So EPIC is an acronym, of course. Examine the content you've researched on the journey, propose a modern connection to the content, so maybe they can see something in the Black Lives Matter movement, and then investigate that connection more deeply. What are the similarities to something you learned? What are the differences? In what way did the past influence the present? How might that information help change the modern civil rights struggle? And then C is create. I want them to create something that's going to expand beyond the classroom, apply it to the normal world. I haven't talked much about grades here because planning this, I'm not too concerned with grades. If you've read some of my other posts, you'll know that the goal, of course, is laid out there with all the XP. Some of these activities are harder than others. My expectation is for full credit, they just have to get through that final Vaughn fight. The extension will, of course, give them some extra credit, but the goal is not to earn a grade, but for them to understand that the stuff in the past influences the present, which can then go and then influence the future. So I hope you've enjoyed this website. This is the main delivery device that they'll have. I will be in control of letting them on to the next part of the website, and I'm interested to see how it goes. So if you enjoyed it, leave a comment. I'm going to also post a link to the website if you want to go in there and help me out by adding more civil rights topics, especially in that third mid-20th century civil rights movement. There are things that I know I've forgotten, things that I know I'm missing. So if you want to add that, just drop something in the comments. I appreciate you watching as long as you have, and have a great rest of the school year.